Stem cells, one of the most exciting areas of research. Stem cells. Hello and welcome. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the webinar on future career path and scope of stem cell research. I'm your host, Shekhar Suman, and today we have a special guest to talk about future career scope of stem cell research. Welcome, everybody, and I will request everyone to share this webinar with all your friends so that we can benefit maximum people, right? Hello, Asha, Sujata, and all those people attending us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, now X, and of course, YouTube. Welcome to the session, guys, and today is a special session which we are conducting in collaboration with Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine. And we're going to talk a lot about stem cells today. So let me know in the chat section. Are you guys excited? Yes. Are you interested in stem cell research? Yes, of course. Who doesn't want to get into research of these amazing cells which can differentiate into any cell of the body? They are the precursor of regenerative medicine. And today, we're going to talk about the future career scope. We're going to talk about the research areas in which you can get in if you want to pursue a course or a career in stem cell research. Good evening, Virendra, Sujata, Healthy Living, interesting name, Asha, and all the people who are there from other social media platforms. So quickly confirm if you guys can hear me, see me, and everything is all clear. Do I have the permission to get started? Let me quickly check on our LinkedIn students. All right. So everyone, let me ask you a question. What do you know about stem cells? Can you tell me? What exactly do you know about stem cells? What all you have heard about stem cells? Can you guys tell me? Quickly in the chat box, tell me what have you heard about stem cell research? Right. So while you guys are typing, let me introduce you to the guest of honor today. So it takes immense pleasure and it's a matter of great honor that this particular webinar series, now this is not a webinar, we're going to come up with a webinar series with Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine, where we are planning to promote stem cell research. We want more people to be aware of stem cell research, more people to learn about stem cells, and we want more people to pursue a career in stem cells. Now, today's guest of honor, speaker of the day is Dr. S. Jyothi Prasanna. She is a PhD from IISc Bengaluru, and then she is currently associate professor and dean at MIRM, which is Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine. Now, she also heads the adult stem cell group at Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine, and she's herself a research scientist and an associate professor. She currently also has teaching interests in various stem cell related subjects, and she'll be joining us shortly. So while she's about to join, let me check the chat section now. Okay, so you all are writing that stem cells can differentiate. Okay, basic of cell from which different cells can formation can take place. Okay, self-renewal capacity, that's right. So have you heard of pluripotent stem cells? Yes, right. So Professor Dr. Jyothi will be joining us now. I'm going to pass on the controls to her. Okay. So, hello, ma'am. Welcome to the session.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Thank you so much for
It's
joining.
always a pleasure to talk to young and talk to you in particular, and also to young enthusiastic students who would like to
Absolutely.
know more about stem cells.
Very true.
So that's
Right.
the reason why I agreed to meet all these enthusiastic students. It is all over 6:30. I'm still in my office. Yeah.
Right. Right. So, thank you so much for sparing time for our this special webinar. And I know you have a very busy schedule, and I can understand how hectic your day was. Even I tried to reach out a couple of times, and I can understand you were always in back-to-back meetings, planning for newer things for MIRM. So it's really encouraging to see your enthusiasm for the youngsters that you are here right now with us. So, ma'am, before we get started, if you could throw some light on the stem cell career and how it can be useful for the students out there.
Okay. So, over the decades, the pharma industry had largely dependent on either cell line systems or animal model systems for drug discovery. And
Right,
when you talk about cell lines, the cell lines are always transformed, right? You work with a
right,
hepatic cell line, for example, there are tumor cell lines. So their metabolism is different, right? Their growth
right,
characteristics are different than the
right.
primary cells because
True.
transformed cell lines have unlimited growth potential. They are
Correct.
refractory to differentiation, unlike primary cells, which have limited lifespans. So any
True.
kind of drug discovery in using a cell line model system is incomplete. And the second thing is mice are not men, definitely. Their sleep night patterns are different, their circadian rhythms are different, their metabolism is different, their physiology is different. So
Right.
using a mice model for drug discovery in humans is erroneous at many levels. But
Correct.
the drug discovery industry, there's a lot of money, millions of dollars of money pumped into drug discovery, right from starting in identifying a lead candidate, then checking it in a cell culture model, a cell line model, then checking it in a small animal model, large animal model, primate model, and then come to the human model. And then after all these, if the drug is withdrawn back from the market, then it's a huge loss of money, right, for the pharma industry. And there are there is a huge attrition of drugs after going through this complete process. It takes more than 10 to 15 years to launch a new drug. So you can
Right.
understand the amount of time and money which goes. And after that, if a drug is withdrawn and it shows any adverse effects in the humans because it has not been um, tested in a human model, then it's not right, right? Both in terms
Correct.
of human health, the pharma industry, the money which is put in. So definitely we need humanized models. So from where would you
Absolutely.
get humanized models? Hmm? You
Right.
won't get by just throwing or testing drugs on a monolayer culture of a cell line, right?
True.
Because if you talk about a hepatic cell line, it's not same as a liver because liver would have 3 to 4 cell types. It's not just hepatocyte. It has Kupffer
Right.
cells. It has endothelial structures. It has a particular kind of anatomy. Microphysiological gradients are different. So you need organotypic models in the Petri plates for drug screening, right?
Right.
So that's where you need to have a source of cell which can generate different intrinsic cell types of a tissue. And that's where, stem cells have immense potential for
Mm-hmm.
drug discovery using human platforms. That is according to me, that is one of the major advantage of stem cells as modern systems for drug discovery. That is number one.
Right.
The second thing is how do you, all of us have academically, research wise, many molecules which were studied and discovered were done using mouse knockout models, right? And
Right.
again, the function of a particular gene in mouse can be different from what it would be in human, isn't it? Like
Correct.
developmentally also they are very different. Their gestation periods are different, right? So most
True.
of our knowledge on molecular mechanisms involved in developmental biology are totally
Mm-hmm.
dependent on mouse models, right? Or
Right.
embryo models. Hmm? Uh, so you need model systems to study development of different tissues. For example, you want to study the development of the liver, or you want to study the development of the heart or the brain. You
Right.
can't use examples of mouse development. You need human systems to study these early developmental trajectories, and that's where you need stem cells to study human developmental biology. And this would be very, very interesting to understand birth defects, congenital disorders. So this is the second uh,
Right.
advantage or the second use of stem cells for studying human development, for human specific drug discovery. And adult stem cells are being used for therapy, specifically the mesenchymal stem cells, which can be tolerated, across allogenic barriers. Allogenic barriers, I mean two individuals which are mismatched. One of the major problems, apart from antibiotic resistance, of course, is organ
Mhm.
transplantation, right? For
Right.
the patients in need, there is no availability of organs available, right?
Right.
Even if
Right.
organs, I mean, you have banks, but by the time it reaches the person, there is loss of viability, isn't it? So you
Correct.
need surrogates, you need organ surrogates, or you
Correct.
need cells which can make them accepted across allogenic barriers without any rejection. So that's
Right.
where mesenchymal stem cells help in this acceptance because they immunomodulate the environment to prevent rejection of organs. So the translational significance of stem cells is immense.
Right. Right. So, ma'am, now we come to this question that stem cell research in India, uh, it is happening at very small places, not on a large scale. So, what's your
Mhm.
point of view? How it will grow in the future, according to you, the stem cell research?
Yeah, I think I would be the best person to answer this question because I started my career in Manipal Hospital, where Manipal Hospital were conducting allogenic and autologous clinical trials with mesenchymal stem cells. And this was
Right.
way back in 2005 when I just
Right.
started my career. We were also trying to make corneal grafts from limbal stem cells, that is, stem cells which could be isolated from your limbus, that is the white and the black part, if you can see, to in a layman language, I'm telling. The
Right.
corneoconjunctival junction is where the limbus is. So we used to take these tissues from cataract surgery patient and culture it on amniotic membrane and give it back to burn patient. So one of the
Right.
challenge which we used to face at Stem Cell Research Center at Manipal Hospital is there were a very select few who could actually do these things, right?
Right.
And we needed manpower. We needed manpower who are specialized not in just cell biology or biochemistry or biotechnology. We wanted somebody who have multidisciplinary expertise in many areas, even
Right.
immunology, because the graft has to be transplanted. And we
Right.
needed manpower who would have knowledge of all these areas and can apply
Right.
it to the So that's where in 2007, Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine was conceptualized. In fact, MIRM is the first stem cell institute in Asia
Right. You told
which
me that.
started master's courses in stem cell biology to cater the new need because there is a need in the healthcare sector. There is a need in the pharmaceutical sector for people who know the art of culturing
Right.
stem cells, of making these organotypic models, know how clinical trials work, and know a knowledge not only on human developmental biology, have knowledge on transplant immunology, have in various arenas, right? And that's
Right.
where MIRM was conceptualized and this course started. And now our
Right.
students are actually recruited at many places, not just now. There are several companies. There are several companies, drug discovery companies, pharma companies who need this kind of expertise to test their drugs. So, although maybe a decade before it was new, but now every
Mm-hmm.
hospital would want to have a stem cell unit, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So, like you said, this is going to grow exponentially in the future, but that means there will be a demand for a lot of manpower for these hospitals,
Yes.
these research organizations, companies. So, how the country or how would we meet this? Like, I know one course which you have is stem cells in MSc in stem cells. So, if you could throw some light on that course and also how we will be
Yeah.
able to generate the manpower for
Yes.
this.
Yeah, it's not just about the requirement in industry or in the hospital sector. Now there are
Right.
institutes whose research
Right.
is focused on regenerative medicine and stem cells. InStem is one of it in India. Our institute itself is a research
Correct.
center. It's a very research intensive institute. So, although
Right.
our base degree is a master's degree, most of our students are PhD students, and we all the professors here, all the faculty here have a
Right.
research lab, right? So
Okay.
these students can continue doing their research. I'll tell you
Right.
why they are picked up in the best of best institute, not only in India but also abroad, is because our
Right.
course curriculum is very research intensive. So we
Right.
have 1 year of teaching and practicals, but the
Mm-hmm.
second year is completely your project work, which not many master's programs actually offer. Even if they
Right.
have a research program, it will be for 3 months or things like that. This is a 1 year research program.
Mm-hmm.
So independent project work, the student can conceptualize, perform, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they are really good at it, they can even publish a paper right in their master's level.
Wow.
And this
Great.
enhances their chances of getting into the best of best institutes, both in India, abroad, as well as in our own institute, because the top performers in a class, like the first 5%, they get to our doctoral program without giving the mandatory Manipal entrance test and the round of interviews, because they are already trained and they already
Right.
have a research project,
So
and they have
them right.
already conceptualized their research problem, so they can continue through their PhD with the same research problem. So they tend to save that 1 year which goes into a PhD because they already have their problem set.
Wow. Wow. That's really great. So, ma'am, to my understanding, your master's program is actually not a master's program. Only the first year you are doing the theory, and then you are exposing the students to the real practical. So, if you could throw some light
Uh,
on how, yeah.
yes. So even in the first year, it is like a very integrated learning process. Like, unlike the
Right.
typical textbook and rote learning, which we are all used to, I mean, at our times, like you take a
Right.
literature and you start mugging, and then at the last moment, you start regurgitating that information, right?
Right.
But here, what we do is that we have a 1.5 year tutorial. So basically, you have a 45 minutes class, and after that, there is a discussion. So it's continuous assessment, it's
Okay.
continuous evaluation of the candidate. So, and after each section is done, there will be a small quiz or something. So there's a lot of emphasis given on internal assessment, and the practicals associated, even in the first semester or the second semester, that is the first year of the program, are directly linked to what is taught in the class. So
Okay.
suppose what is taught in class is embryonic stem cells, right?
Right.
So in the
Right.
practical session in the evening, the theory class will be on embryonic stem cells, and in the practical session in the evening, they will be learning embryonic stem cell culture. So there will always be that connect between what they have done in the theory and what they will
Right.
do in the practical class in the evening. So that way, it's very, very linked even in the first year. And
Right.
in the second year, they end up choosing that topic of interest. Like, for example, somebody is interested in diabetes. I'm just giving an example. So they can
Right.
choose a research project which is linked to diabetes. They will be offered 10 specialized lectures on diabetes. They formulate their problem on an unanswered question in the field of diabetes and continue it for the year. So they have a
Right.
range of subjects, and if somebody wants to couple, for example, neurobiology with tissue engineering, if you want to talk, they want to, so they can have an integrated project encompassing both the components. So that is one of the high points of the course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ma'am, now let's look at the number of companies which we have in India and abroad. So, the moment we talk about stem cells, actually, Stembutics comes into our mind. What are the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
companies globally, if you could throw some light on who would be interested in hiring these graduates and postgraduates and PhDs in stem cells research? If you could let us know on
So
that.
there are a lot of stem cell companies. Invitrogen is one of it. Osiris Therapeutics is one of it. So there are a lot of companies. These are all they make stem cell banks. Uh, you have to test these stem cells for the differentiation potential. You have to test these stem cells for the transplantability. You have to
Right.
make sure that these can be banked, these can be passaged. All these they require people who have knowledge of culturing, who know the state of art of establishing, storing, freezing, differentiating,
Right.
transplanting these cells. So several companies like Invitrogen is one of it, Osiris is one of it, Unilever is one of it. Recently, we had a talk from a scientist who works in Unilever, and he was very, very desirous to take our student for a project which they can do along with them. So one of our faculty and he can do it together, and the student can have a flavor of both the industry as well as research. So
Right.
each to their own, like we really, really mentor the student depending upon what their interests are.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So now that we know the about glimpse about the course now and also about the companies who are hiring and the future scope, which obviously looks bright for all our young students. So now generally the students will come to me and ask, sir, why don't we do only MSc biotechnology and why should I go for MSc in stem cells? So if you could share this insight with the students that instead of doing MSc Biotech, why don't they specialize at the master's level? What's your take on that?
So when biotechnology started, people thought that within 10 years there will be I myself am a biotechnologist from JNU. I
Right,
did my master's in biotechnology long back. But with
right,
time, science progresses. The demand of the healthcare sector progresses. We are all not stagnant, right?
true,
So maybe a couple of years back, like if you go with a generation which is much older than me, they will say that we would prefer to do biochemistry, right?
right, right,
In our time, it was probably when I was doing my bachelor's, it was biochemistry honors. Everybody would
right,
want for biochemistry honors. And
right,
then it was biotechnology. But now, these courses, I won't say they are not interesting or whatever, they are equally, but they have got saturated in the
right,
sense. And what is the need of the day is a course which is very transdisciplinary, very interdisciplinary, which can integrate components of different fields. For example, it's not that in stem cell biology or regenerative technology. That's why initially it was called as regenerative medicine, MSc in stem cell in regenerative medicine, and couple of experts, both from the industry and
right.
healthcare sector, we have them in our board. They suggested you should call it stem cell technology because there's a lot of technology also involved here. right?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
when you say stem cell technology, it doesn't mean that components of biotechnology are not there. What do you call biotechnology, right? We have a component of bioengineering. You need to know molecular biology, right? Cell
Right.
biology. These components, which are being taught in biotechnology, are also taught here, but they are modules. They are
True.
modules. We integrate all these concepts towards human biology. Ultimately,
Right.
we need to make some impact on human health. Like the COVID pandemic is a very good example of the need, right?
Yes.
And you need
True.
people who have good understanding of human biology. But if you talk, then why don't we do human anatomy or physiology, right?
Right.
Somebody can ask that. So, but is just knowledge of human physiology enough? No. You need to also have molecular understanding, right? You also need to have some understanding of biochemical principles, right? Molecular biology principles. What if
Right.
you want to gene edit, for example? You need to know genome engineering, isn't it? So all these components are
Correct.
actually taught as a part of stem cell technology. So, our
Right.
course, biotechnology, is a subset, if you can say, of this broad interdisciplinary program. Um, so, uh, I personally feel that if you have a broader vision and you want to integrate all these concepts, including biotechnology, for making a difference with respect to human models, drugs, and if you're interested in human health, then I think
Right.
this is one of the field which would be really, which has all these concepts intertwined together.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So now I can understand. Okay, so this gives us a very good clarity that why go for stem cells instead of going for a broad thing. And now that the expertise and the research which is going on in MIRM, if you could throw some light on that, that I'm sure will really excite our students to pursue their masters and PhD in your organization. But also, if you could share how many papers they are publishing over a period of time in during their coursework, if you could let us know on that.
Yeah. So any kind of research institute cannot survive without generous funding from extramural agencies, from the government of India, and internal funding also, right? So we are
Right.
majorly funded. So all of us, as I told previously also,
Right.
we are researchers first and academicians later. All of us have research labs which are funded. Our research is funded
Right.
by funding agencies like Department of Biotechnology, ICMR, DST, all these funding agencies. Some of us are also have also got funding from international agencies. So we
Right.
have our own research lab where each lab has almost like 5 to 6 PhD students, like any research lab, like you have in IISc or NCBS or all these places. So
Right.
we have research labs and then we teach. So definitely our teaching would not be a routine teaching like how you
Right.
would have in a normal biotechnology college or something where the major emphasis is only to teach. But here, the
Right.
emphasis is also to teach and engage in research and develop that interest into two kind of basic research, applicative research, translationally relevant research, which would lead. So
Right.
then the students have an option to choose what kind of things they fit in, right? Because most
Right.
of the people lose out because they don't know what is in offer for them. They don't know what all you can do with a course, right?
Correct.
Uh,
Correct.
so in that
That's
sense, and all of us, obviously, if you have a research lab and you have PhD students with you, you need to publish. And all of us definitely, and Manipal Mahe as an institution is very stringent with respect to publications because a person doesn't get their doctoral degree till they publish minimum of 2 papers before they go.
oh
So it's
right.
mandatory for everybody to publish. and all of us are really voraciously publishing. So,
Right.
and also each person or each faculties bring with them their own research expertise. For example, um, I have worked on hepatocellular carcinomas. I am a molecular immunologist and working in the field of artificial stem cells from so long. And
Right.
recently, my research being focused on diabetes. Like that, we have other faculties who work on neuronal disorders. Some people who work on cancer. Uh,
Hmm.
so definitely, we have multiple research verticals under the umbrella of regenerative medicine. So the students who are pursuing their masters get advantage of this exposure
Mhm.
right from the masters. We don't have a master's program in our institute. Our base program itself is uh, we don't have a bachelor's program in our institute. The base
Right.
program itself is a master's program, and we have a very limited intake. It's not that we take
Right.
everybody because we really screen people who are genuinely interested in the field and who wants to make a change. Uh, because
Right.
we ourselves take it on to them so that they have a long-term flourishing career. We have to hone them, right? Yeah.
Right. So, ma'am, I'm told like I visited your campus, I think in December, and that's when I requested you to spare out time for this particular webinar series. And today, now that it is happening, I'm really thankful to you. But apart from stem cells, I also observed that there are multiple other courses also you are conducting in MIRM. If you could throw some light on that, ma'am, that will be really helpful.
Yeah, so stem cell biology program, stem cell biology and stem cell technology and regenerative medicine program, which has multiple components encompassing tissue engineering, developmental biology, application of stem cells, biochemistry, biotechnology, genome engineering. So it has all these components, but we have a few select programs with very limited intake. We are launching actually a course, a master's program on MSc by research in translation immunology. So apart from our flagship program, which is the oldest program and the most sought after program, we
Right.
also have limited seats in MSc by research programs. What are these MSc by research programs? So the MSc by research programs are the ones which have only one semester of teaching and practical
Right.
training, but it has 1.5 years of research components. These programs are basically for students who are sure of getting into research, and that too in specific areas. So, for example, if you talk about masters by research in neurobiology, right? So this
Right.
program
Right.
is for people who have decided that they only want to work on neuroscience, right? And they can
Right.
actually continue their research in that. Similarly, we launched this new program on Masters in Translational Immunology, more so because we are all researchers and we have seen how we suffered during COVID, right? And what was the
Right.
need? Everybody was suffering from vaccines, immunotherapies were the most needed therapies for the day, right? So many of us have lost our near and dear ones. And now cancer immunotherapies have made cancer curable at least for some of the disorders, specifically the blood-borne tumors, right? So
Right.
uh, if your tumor is immunologically active, then you can try immunotherapies. And in fact, Jim Allison had got the Nobel Prize for the checkpoint blockade therapy, right? For
Correct.
cancer. That was a big thing with respect to cancer immunotherapies. So we thought
Right.
that definitely, you need a program on translational immunology. Now, what is translational
Right.
immunology? Using immunological principles to treat
Right.
diseases, right? And this this is again an MSc by research program. So people will be taught specific concepts in immunology, immunological diseases, cancer immunotherapies, who are interested in these vaccines, right?
Right.
Development of monoclonals for different diseases, including cancers, autoimmune diseases. And these, if these are the domains which interest students, then they should opt for this MSc by Research in Translation Immunology. So these two courses, the MSc by Research in Translational Neuroscience and MSc by Research in Translation Immunology, are niche courses for people
Right.
who are interested in these specific aspects. But if you
Right.
want to try your hands in several things and decide where you are interested in, are you interested in diabetes? Are you interested in cancer? Are you interested in neuroscience or tissue engineering? Then you should opt for a stem cell biology master's program. So these are the differences. But we have
Right.
three programs, three master's programs under the umbrella of regenerative medicine.
Right. So, ma'am, now that we have come almost towards the end of our session, we would take some Q&A from our students who are
Yeah.
attending this session. I can see a couple of questions. So I will request our students to now start asking question in the chat box in the meanwhile. So let's look at some of the question coming in. So the question from Kirti is, how can one enrich stem cell career without financial burden? So that question is the first
Stem
question for
cells
today.
career without financial burden. Uh, Actually, if you talk about our master's program, it's a hands-on program in the sense that uh, whatever you put in, because stem cell research is expensive, but the
Right.
rewards are big. The rewards are big because it's a specialized expertise, it's a specialized skill set.
Mhm.
But the amount you are now actually speaking, there are a lot of fellowships, there are a lot of things where right after masters, the fellowship is quite lucrative. Even at a JRF level, Government of India has enhanced the fellowship, right?
Right.
And
Correct.
as I told you, after doing your masters from the institute, if you are a meritorious candidate and you're in the first three or four in the class, then you can get into our doctoral program right away without taking the mandatory test because you already have a 1 year research project done, and that doctoral program is completely funded in the sense that the students will be given a TMA Pi fellowship, which is quite
Right.
which is quite competitive, which is good. So the student
Right.
can survive, and then and we give the assurance for placement. Most of our students are immediately taken in, and if you get into a doctoral program, then uh,
Of course.
you are independent. You are independent financially immediately after your master's degree, which is not the case with the conventional programs. That much I can tell because I've seen biotechnology graduates suffering.
Right.
There's always confusion as to whether you're a BTech in biotechnology or an MSc in biotechnology, and then uh, people end up. The harsh reality is that after the biotech program, they end up doing software jobs. Some of them,
Right.
especially the
Right.
BTech people, and they have done something else, and then they are ending up in since doing something else. So, which is
Right.
not the case for this program, at least with my experience with all the past students, they have at least got in companies which are aligned with the niche areas in which they have been trained.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, I'm also told that you do have PhD programs where you take CSIR net qualified students. Am I right?
Yes, 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 yes. I
So,
myself have in my lab itself, I have a CSIR fellow, I have a DST inspired fellow, um, and we definitely take in our doctoral programs, which is apart from the DMA Pi fellowship. If somebody
right.
already has a CSIR fellowship, then yes, we're more than
Right.
happy to take them.
So, ma'am, there may be many students who have finished their masters, and they still want to associate with MIRM
Hmm.
and want to do research in stem cells, but they're not PhD yet. So, like last time, I was
Hmm.
told that there was some kind of workshop also conducted. So, if you could throw some light on the workshops also which you conduct.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, one of the tangential advantage which the master students get is
Right,
one of the agenda of Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine is also upskilling and training. So
right,
as you have continuous dental education, you have continuous medical education, you have CMS and CDEs, right? In the medical profession, we have started a series of workshops which come under continuous research education. It's very,
right,
very important to upskill, right? So whatever technology was there some days back, it won't remain. The world is growing in a very fast pace. So you need to
right,
continuously upskill yourself. The faculty should upskill, the students should upskill. When I started my career in stem cell research, it was different. Now, after CRISPR-Cas9 has really change the way we edit, we do genome engineering, right? So obviously you need to have your skill set developed in these areas also. So upskilling is a part of our both our research and academic endeavors. So continuously on every quarter, we have these workshops which even our master students participate, our PhD students participate, and these are some of the advantages because upskilling training is also a very, very important part of our post curriculum, our doctoral program, and through this we sort of spread awareness about what all stem cells can do
right,
in generally the community as a whole. Like, yeah.
right.
So these
So,
workshops are very, very well received.
right, right. So, ma'am, now there is a question by Shreya Chanda. She's asking that I'm a student who wants to pursue research in an institution, and she has done masters in biotechnology, and she has overall research experience, and she wants to publish papers. So, do you accept such students also who have a master's and want to pursue research in your organization?
They have to take masters somewhere else. Then they have to take the CSIR exam, and then
Right,
if they
find
have a
out.
fellowship, then they have to we interview them, and if they are found eligible, we take them. The other way of getting into our research program is through the Manipal entrance test, MET, followed by
Right.
an interview, which I
Oh,
have told. I mean, if you do the masters in our own institute, then and if you are good, then you can be taken in. But for people who are from a different background, like biotechnology or biochemistry, they have to mandatory take the MET exam followed by one or two rounds of interviews, and depending upon their performance, I mean, we have the TMA Pi fellowship program, which I was talking about. And of
right, right.
course, the routine CSIR and NET and all these things are mandatory.
Right. So, next question is from Heartily Quotes. She is asking how, hello, ma'am, can you please arrange offline workshops?
Offline workshops we have been arranging actually. Very recently, we had a tissue engineering workshop, which was very,
Yes,
very well received, and people all over India had actually come to
we had
attend the
run
workshop. Yeah, yeah. So we had a 2 day workshop where there was an
it. Right,
interface of researchers as well as company professionals who were resource persons for the workshop. But every
right,
quarter we do organize these workshops. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, workshops will be organized in MIRM whenever it is there. We will inform you on Biotechnika. You stay subscribed. You can always participate. But offline workshop means it will be in Bangalore itself, right?
In
So, so now,
form.
uh,
Yeah,
next question is how can students connect with you?
yeah.
They're asking your email ID.
Yeah, it will
So,
be in Bangalore because Manipal Institute of, yeah. MIRM is located in uh, Shekhar has my email ID. So somebody who
Yeah,
is really enthusiastic, you can provide my
yeah, yeah.
email ID to the enthusiastic candidates.
Sure, sure, sure. So, students, this is my email ID. I will share it on the screen. You can email me if you are interested in enrolling in MIRM, and I will connect you with Jyothi ma'am. And now, coming to the next part, this is the link to more details about the MIRM courses. I am sharing it in the chat box, which you can see, and you can go here and you can check it out for with all the details which we have for MIRM. Okay, and these courses are having limited seats, not more than 20 seats. I am
Yeah,
told it is, right? So if you are interested in doing masters in MIRM, you can always go to this link. I will request the team to also send this link to our LinkedIn members, because they will not be able to connect through the platform I'm using. So this link, you can go and you can go through all the details of the MIRM MSc in Stem Cell Technology course, and you can learn about it. I'll quickly run you through the program details. So it is called as Asia's first college in regenerative medicine in stem cell technology. The name of the course is MSc in Stem Cell Technology and Regenerative Biology. And this particular course is it includes 1 year exhaustive research project, unlike any other institute. And the duration of course is 2 years, where you will be provided hands-on practical training experience on stem cell technology, interactive research, integrated learning modules, mentored 1 year of project work, flexibility to choose your electives, placement assistance and guidance, research paper publications, master student project work, and industry relevant skill sets. Also, you will be exposed to clinical and non clinical applications of stem cells, biomaterials, tissue engineering, embryonic development and differentiation, architecture of cells, tissues, and organs, intercellular communication in stem cells and biomolecules, and research methodologies. And you will also be trained on project management. Now, the faculty at MIRM has a diverse research expertise ranging from developmental biology, cancer biology, chronic and metabolic degenerative diseases, immunology, cell biology, genome engineering, material sciences, tissue engineering, and neurobiology. So if you are interested to know about career opportunities, like ma'am said, if you do a general biotech course, there are so many biotech students. But if you do a specialized course, your chances of getting placed in stem cell specific companies and various hospitals who are going to have their own stem cell research arm, you can get placed there. So after obtaining a master's, you can either go for your PhD by qualifying CSRNet, or you can get directly placed. Yeah. Uh, Ma'am, you wanted to add something?
yeah. I just
I
wanted
guess.
to add that one of the things, that it's not just about stem cell niche companies. It's all pharma companies. All
Pharma.
pharma companies,
Right,
now be it AstraZeneca, Unilever, or even Biocon, they
right,
wish to have people with
right,
stem cell expertise, because they want to do now more and more. There are stringent ethical guidelines on using animals for their research. It's cruelty, right? So, and
right,
also,
right.
as I was pointing out, animal research can only take you to a certain level. It can't take you to a higher level. So they would want to test their drugs. They would want to test their drugs on human platforms. For them, they need stem cell biologists.
Of course. Very true. Very true. Ma'am, so one last question for today. It is from a 12th class student. I have displayed it on the screen. And he asks that I'm appearing for my class 12
They
boards. I
can't
want.
do without it. So now, futuristically, every pharma company would have scientists or would have people who know the state of art, right? Before
Right.
they could actually launch their drugs.
Right. Right. So, ma'am, there is a question now
So,
from Shaurya
yeah,
Gupta, and he's asking, I have displayed on the screen, you can see, he wants to enter the research field. He's currently writing his
you're
class 12
sound.
reports. So, can you tell the best degree he should pursue according to you? I guess we have lost the connection. Ma'am, can you hear me? Hello? All right, I think we have lost the connection there, no problem. So we will wait for ma'am to join back. In the meanwhile, students, you have already learned a lot about stem cells today. If you have any questions about stem cells or anything you want to learn, you can write to me at shekhar@biotecnika.org. Whether you are a plus two student, a master student, or a bachelor student, or a PhD, pre-PhD student, you can always look at this direction also, which has got tremendous growth potential in the future. Every pharma company, every biotech company into drug discovery is going to hire you. Right. I think ma'am is here. Ma'am, can you hear me? Can you hear me, ma'am? I think the connection is still loose. So no problem. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for this informative webinar. I hope you enjoyed the session, and we will have another 3 more sessions in March where we are going to come up with different stem cell experts. And this particular webinar series is sponsored by Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine, where we'll be talking more about stem cell research. How can you make a career in stem cell research? So stay subscribed and stay tuned to Biotecnika, where we'll be talking more about this. And if in case you are interested to make a career in stem cell research, write to me at shekhar@biotecnika.org. Thank you, everybody. We'll just try one more time to see if ma'am can hear us. Ma'am, are you able to hear me? Hello? Right. I think still there is a problem. No problem. Thank you so much, everybody. It was wonderful interacting with all of you. And we'll see you soon in the next webinar where we'll be talking about stem cells. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.